Most people spend their entire lives believing that intelligence is about memorizing facts, getting good grades, or sounding knowledgeable, but deep down, many people sense that something doesn't quite add up. Because they've seen highly educated people make terrible decisions. They've watched people with impressive IQs crumble under pressure. And they've wondered, if they're so smart, why do they keep messing things up? Here's the truth. Being smart isn't about knowing more. It's about seeing differently, thinking in ways most people never even consider. That's what creates truly intelligent people. Today, you'll learn 5 mental shifts. Shifts that don't just make you smarter. They make you dangerously effective. The kind of person who walks into a room and changes the entire atmosphere. Without ego, without bragging, just quiet confidence, calm energy, silent strength. Mental shift 1. Don't argue to win, ask to understand. Most people argue as if they're standing in a courtroom, trying to prove they're right, trying to dominate. Smart people don't play that game. They don't need to win. They want to understand. They ask questions. What makes you feel that way? What outcome are you hoping for? They stay curious. They stay calm. And because they don't attack people, when people feel safe, the truth reveals itself. That's the secret. You don't need to defeat people. You need to understand them. That's how real minds change. Mental shift 2. Don't obsess over the moment. Zoom out and see the system. Most people treat failure like a full stop. They make one mistake, and suddenly believe everything is ruined. They mess up a presentation, get rejected, miss a workout, and immediately think, I suck. Smart people don't see failure that way. They don't even call it failure. They call it information. They ask, what pattern brought me here? What variable can I change? They treat life like a system, not a soap opera. Zoom out far enough, and nothing feels final anymore. Everything becomes feedback. That's why smart people learn faster. Because they don't waste time sulking. They're busy improving the process. Mental shift 3. Filter everything through one question. Is this actually in my control? Most people stress about traffic, other people's opinions, the news, things they can't influence. The more they try controlling the uncontrollable, the more exhausted they become. Smart people don't waste energy like that. They simply ask, can I control this? If the answer is yes, they take action. If the answer is no, they release it. They don't spiral. They don't overthink. They slice through noise. That calm energy you notice in high performers comes from ruthless focus. Not control over the world. Control over themselves. Mental shift 4. Get comfortable with silence. Most people are afraid of quiet moments. They rush to fill silence with jokes, arguments, small talk, anything to avoid discomfort. Smart people don't fear silence. They own it. They let conversations breathe. They listen more than they speak. They don't interrupt. They observe carefully. Because the person who talks the least often understands the most. The less reactive you become, the more powerful you appear. Silence creates presence. Silence makes people curious. It encourages them to reveal more. It shows you things loud people miss. And most importantly, silence keeps you in control. Mental shift 5. Don't react. Observe first. Someone says something rude. Most people immediately snap. They defend themselves. Life throws a curveball. Most people panic. Smart people do something different. They pause. They breathe. They watch. They calculate. That tiny pause changes everything. Because observation creates leverage. It produces insight. It creates clarity. Reacting is easy. Observing is power. When you pause, you begin seeing what others completely miss. You become the calm person in chaos. The person people remember, not because you're loud, but because you're impossible to shake. Here's the truth. You don't need a PhD. You don't need the highest IQ in the room. You don't need to speak the loudest. You don't need to impress everyone. Real intelligence looks very different. It starts by changing how you think. Ask instead of arguing. Seek understanding instead of validation. Zoom out instead of panicking. Look for patterns. Treat setbacks as information. Focus only on what you can control. Release everything else. Protect your energy. Become comfortable with silence. Learn to listen more and react less. Observe before speaking. Pause before responding. Because clarity often lives inside stillness. Most people won't do this. They'll keep rushing, overreacting, giving away their power. But if you begin building these habits today, you won't just feel smarter. You'll become calmer, sharper, unshakable. Let the world chase noise. You're here to build quiet power. And quiet power changes everything. If this message resonated with you, comment quiet power, subscribe to Simple Life Evolution, and continue training your mind to transform your life.